The world of cameras, it moves at such a blistering pace, doesn't it? Keeping up with the latest advancements. Well, it can feel like a full-time job. But what if there was a way to sort of distill all the crucial information, the really juicy insights, without you having to sift through countless reviews and technical specs yourself? That's precisely our mission today. We're taking a deep dive into the Nikon Z8. It's a camera that has been, well, absolutely making waves and racking up awards, including a coveted PC Mag Editor's Choice. So our goal for you today is to unpack everything that makes this camera a, quote, mirrorless powerhouse. From its core design philosophy right through to its cutting-edge performance. We'll explore its impressive strengths, maybe some surprising quirks, and how it truly stacks up against some serious competition. And this is all based on a really thorough review from a trusted source.
Yeah, and what's particularly striking here, I think, is how the Z8 aims to package all that revolutionary technology from Nikon's flagship Z9, their absolute top-tier camera.
Right, the big one.
Exactly, but in a significantly more compact and, frankly, more accessible body. It's really built as a hybrid powerhouse. I mean, meticulously designed for both high-end stills and demanding video. And this ambition is precisely why it's earned that affectionate nickname, the Z850, which references a beloved Nikon DSLR.
That's a fascinating comparison right off the bat. So, okay, let's unpack this a little more, starting with those roots you just mentioned. That Z850 nickname. It isn't just a casual nod, is it? It directly references Nikon's legendary D850 DSLR. And the review points out the camera was among the best Nikon cameras of the entire digital era.
So when people say the Z8 looks, feels, and behaves much like it, well, that's incredibly high praise.
Oh, indeed it is, yeah. And while the D850 was fundamentally, an optical viewfinder camera.
The traditional mirror setup.
Yeah.
Right, with a mechanical focal plane shutter. So physical curtains controlling the exposure, the Z8 is completely different in that sense. It's a stacked mirrorless camera, built entirely around an electronic viewfinder and a fully electronic shutter, which means, it's completely silent and operates without moving parts for its main shutter function.
Silent shooting, yeah.
Exactly. Yet, despite these fundamental differences, the body size and style are remarkably close. The Z8 measures about 4.7 by 5.7 by 3.3 inches and weighs exactly 2 pounds, which makes it just slightly less tall and wide than the D850, but the weight is identical.
2 pounds, okay.
Yeah, so this puts it kind of on the heavier side compared to many contemporary full-frame mirrorless cameras like the Sony A7RV or the Canon EOS R5. Both of those come in around 1.6 pounds.
Yeah, and the review really emphasizes that it's built like a tank. It features this rugged magnesium alloy chassis, seals from dust and splashes, and designed to be just as robust as the D850's renowned weather sealing. Plus, it has this clever feature, a sensor shield.
Ah, yes.
Since it relies on that electronic shutter, right, and doesn't have physical mechanical curtains to cover the sensor, this shield automatically closes when you pop off the lens. It's a thoughtful touch, I think, to keep dust off that critical sensor.
Absolutely. It's a really practical feature. And when we move to the controls, a key aspect to highlight is how the Z8 successfully blends that familiar Nikon heritage with, innovative design. Despite its slightly larger size relative to some competitors, that deep grip with a comfortable middle finger indent ensures it feels perfectly manageable in your hand, even when you're attaching, larger, heavier lenses.
Yeah, that grip is important. And the buttons on this camera, they sound like something else. You get 2 assignable function buttons between the grip and mount, just like on the D850. Okay, familiar there. But here's a particularly compelling feature that really stands out in the review. Many of his buttons are backlit.
That's a big one.
Yeah. This includes the mode, drive, bracket, and white balance buttons on the top plate, and most of the rear buttons, like FN3 delete, AFON, menu, play, minus, and plus. You just twist the power switch past on to illuminate them. Now, this isn't just a nice to have, is it? I mean, for those shooting events in dimly lit venues or capturing astrophotography or just working after sundown.
Right.
Fumbling for controls can mean missing the decisive moment. So backlit buttons, they just eliminate that guesswork entirely, speeding up adjustments when every second counts.
It's a perfect example of a thoughtful design choice, really aimed at creators who work in varied and, let's face it, often challenging lighting conditions. And while the Z8 uses a mode button instead of a traditional dial, which, some might initially find less intuitive.
Yeah, I'm used to a dial myself.
Right, but Nikon's choice here isn't arbitrary. It intelligently frees up space for that large backlit monochrome information panel on the top plate, giving you a clear, real-time display of all your settings at a glance.
Ah, okay, I see the trade-off.
hmm And even without a third control dial, like you'd find on the A7RV or the EOS R5, Nikon includes an easy EV compensation option. This lets you assign exposure value control to one of the two existing dials, offering a highly granular level of customization.
The review mentioned the controls continue to impress. There's an 8-way joystick on the rear for quick focus point control and menu navigation, though the 4-way D-pad is described as being a bit mushy. Now, is that just a minor aesthetic quibble, or could that actually impact critical focus adjustments in the field, say for action photographers?
That's a really good question. For most general use, it's likely just a minor tactile preference, I'd say. However, for a professional who relies heavily on that D-pad for, like, rapid focus point shifts in fast-paced scenarios.
Right, or maybe wearing gloves.
Exact. Or if they're wearing gloves, yeah. A mushy feel could potentially slow them down or maybe lead to imprecise input. It's a small detail, sure, but for some workflows, it could be a factor. But continuing with focus adjustments, there's also a dedicated focus control button on the front left. You press it, and you can spin the rear dial for focus mode and the front dial for focus area. Simple enough. Plus, the I button pulls up a customizable on-screen menu with separate options for stills and video, which is incredibly handy for hybrid shooters.
Separate menus, that's smart. Speaking of hybrid shooting, which seems to be where this camera really shines,
Yeah.
the display and viewfinder are absolutely critical. The Z8 uses the same double-hinged LCD as the Z9, apparently, which allows for 4-way tilt.
That's right.
Which sounds excellent for photography from different angles, whether you're shooting low to the ground or, holding it up over a crowd. However, it doesn't flip out or forward, which is a consideration for video creators who might be shooting themselves, like vloggers.
Yeah, and that's precisely where competitors like the Sony A7RV gain an edge. It has that dual-hinged display offering both tilt and a full flip-out for front-of-lens framing.
Right, for the selfie view.
Exactly. But in terms of display quality itself, the Z8's 3.2-inch, 2.1 million LCD is remarkably sharp and color accurate. The review says it performs beautifully in both dim and bright lighting. And the electronic viewfinder, well, it might not be considered best in class when you directly compare it to, say, Sony's incredibly sharp 9.4 million dot EVF.
Which is a lot of dots.
It is a lot of dots. But the Z8's EVF is still fantastic. It provides a large 0.8x hedge with 3.7 million dots. And crucially, it offers both 60 pps and 120 fps refresh rates without any resolution sacrifice at that higher rate. That's a huge advantage for tracking fast action smoothly.
Okay, smoother tracking. And the truly standout advantage of the Z8's EVF, thanks to that stacked CMOS sensor we keep mentioning, is the interruption-free view when you take photos. What does that actually mean for the photographer in practice?
Well, it's game-changing, especially for action. See, when you fire off a burst of photos on many cameras, even mirrorless ones, there's often a brief blackout or maybe a stutter in the viewfinder.
Right, you lose the subject for a split second.
Exactly, meaning you momentarily lose sight of your subject. With the Z8's stacked sensor, that just doesn't happen. You maintain a continuous live view of your subject, which makes tracking fast-moving things incredibly easier because you never lose sight of your frame. In contrast, cameras like the A7RV and EOS R5 can show an interrupted view when using their electronic shutters, or even sometimes with their mechanical shutters.
That sounds like a really significant advantage for certain types of shooting. Of course, a powerhouse camera needs endurance. So let's delve into how the Z8 keeps you shooting longer, both in terms of battery life and its comprehensive connectivity options. The Z8 uses the EN-EL15C battery, offering a SIPA rating of 340 LCD or 330 EVF pictures per charge. Now, for our listeners, that SIPA rating is a standardized measurement, gives you a baseline for comparison.
But often conservative.
Right, though real-world shooting, especially in continuous modes, can often exceed that significantly. The review notes it can deliver around 2,280 pictures in continuous drive mode.
Wow, quite a difference.
Yeah. Or over 1,000 frames when shooting at 20 fps. For video, you can expect around 85 minutes of record time.
Okay, so this places its CA battery life below the Sony A7RV, which gets about 25% more life per charge, roughly, but it does outperform the Canon EOS R5 on that metric. Now, for those needing maximum endurance, the Z9 with its massive ENEL18B battery is, well, the clear upgrade. That offers 770 pictures per charge on the SI-PS standard.
That's a big jump. Huge
Jump. However, the Z8 does offer the MBN12 grip option. That lets you house a second battery and adds vertical controls, extending your shooting time considerably.
Right. So there's an option for longer shoots. And connectivity sounds robust, too. It boasts 2 USB-C ports, one dedicated for power delivery, the other for data, a full-size HDMI port for clean 10-bit 4.2.2 video output, and separate 3.5mm headphone and mic jacks. Standard Pro stuff?
Pretty much, yeah.
While it lacks a built-in flash or a PC Sync socket, its hot shoe supports speed lights and radio triggers. Okay. For storage, you get 2 memory card slots. A main one for CFexpress Type B or XQD, and a second for UHS-II SD cards. And you'll definitely need those faster CFE cards, right? Those are the ultra-high-speed memory cards designed to handle the immense data rates from things like N-RAW and ProRes RAW video.
Absolutely essential for those formats.
Which are essentially uncompressed video files, giving you maximum editing flexibility later on.
Exactly. But XQD or even good SDXC cards will work just fine for ProRes 422 and H.265 formats.
Okay, so options there depending on your needs.
Mm-hmm. And for wireless convenience, it's equipped with Bluetooth 5.0 and dual-band Wi-Fi, supporting the Nikon SnapBridge app for, seamless photo transfers and remote operation. It can also connect directly to Wi-Fi networks and supports FTP transfers, making it highly adaptable for professional workflows out in the field. The only notable omission, really, compared to the flagship Z9, is an Ethernet port. Which, okay, some high-volume news or sports photographers might use for instant transfers, but maybe not everyone.
Yeah, probably a niche requirement for most. Okay, now let's pivot to a key distinction for action shooters, the autofocus system. The Z8 features Nikon's acclaimed 3D tracking autofocus and offers highly effective subject detection for people, various animals, including birds, vehicles, and even airplanes. Pretty comprehensive list.
It really is.
And what's particularly unique, according to the review, is its auto mode for subject detection. This is found to be just as effective as manual selection and testing, like for finding tiny birds camouflaged in dense trees.
Yeah, that auto detection is surprisingly smart. A crucial detail here is that while the focus system covers nearly the entire sensor area and offers various zone options, its 3D tracking mode truly excels for moving subjects. It's described as incredibly tenacious, even in tough lighting conditions and busy scenes, holding on to subjects with impressive accuracy. However, the review did note some, let's say, minor quirks, like the focus target box being white instead of red in 3D tracking mode.
Oh, why is that an issue?
Well, white can just be a bit harder to see against certain backgrounds compared to a bright red box. A small thing, maybe, but noticeable.
Okay. Despite these minor points, though, the Z8's focus system sounds superb overall. While the review notes Sony's A7RV still has perhaps a slight edge in certain tracking scenarios, and even offers unique insect detection, which is interesting.
Yeah, Sony's pushing the boundaries there.
The Z8 has that significant advantage for action photography because of its stacked CMOS sensor. This allows for that truly interruption-free viewfinder experience we talked about, and snappier 20 frames per second raw capture. It can even hit 30 fps in JPG mode, a rapid 60 pps for 19 megapixel JPGs, and a blistering 120 pps for 11 megapixel snaps. All with full-time focus and exposure.
Those speeds are incredible.
And those faster modes include a pre-shot buffer option. How much of a game changer is that for capturing fleeting moments?
No, it's an absolute game changer, seriously. Imagine like a bird just taking flight or an athlete at the very peak of their jump.
Yeah, the moment happens so fast.
Exactly. The decisive moment can be literally milliseconds. With a pre-shot buffer, the camera actually begins recording images before you even fully press the shutter button down. It ensures you don't miss that crucial peak action, even if your reaction time isn't, absolutely perfect.
Wow, like buffering reality.
Kind of. And the Z8 also backs up its speed with a substantial buffer capacity. At 20 fps, it can capture about 235 raw snaps with a fast CFexpress card before any slowdown. And then it clears that buffer in just about a second, which is incredibly fast.
Impressive.
Yeah, this makes it an ideal choice for any fast-paced photography, really, from sports to wildlife.
Okay, finally, let's talk about image quality, which is, paramount for any camera claiming to be a powerhouse.
The 45-megapixel stacked CMOS sensor delivers impeccable picture quality, apparently, and a fast enough readout to freeze most motion and sync perfectly with flashes.
That fast readout is key.
It supports a native ISO range of 64 to 25 to 600, expandable up to a lumbered 2400, and you've got options for JPGs, HEIF for 10-bit HDR color.
Which gives richer colors than standard JPGs, worth noting.
Right, and 14-bit RAW with various compression levels. The review mentions high efficiency, offering the best balance of quality and manageable file size.
Yeah, that's usually the sweet spot. The Z8's high ISO performance is highly competitive. It maintains crisp detail right through ISO 6400, according to the tests.
Oh.
What this means for you, the listener, is that you can confidently shoot in challenging low-light conditions, think indoor sports, dimly lit concerts, or maybe nighttime street photography, and still get highly usable images without excessive noise.
That's crucial flexibility, definitely. And its 14-bit RAW files offer ample dynamic range, meaning you have a huge amount of flexibility to recover details in shadows or highlights during post-processing. Now, while the Sony A7RV offers a higher pixel 60-megapixel chip and has that multi-shot 240-megapixel output mode that the Z8 currently lacks.
Those huge landscape prints, maybe.
Perhaps, yeah. But the Z8's 45-megapixel resolution is more than sufficient for the vast majority of creators, I'd argue. Plus, its 5-axis sensor stabilizer is pretty standard for this class now, but it proves incredibly effective for sharp handheld shots, even at slower shutter speeds, which is crucial for getting crisp images in tricky light without needing a tripod.
So, okay, what does this all mean for you listening in? We've really gone through the Nikon Z8 with a fine-tooth comb today, haven't we? Uncovering its, robust build, its impressive speed, those thoughtful controls that seem truly designed for the field, and its distinct, highly capable autofocus capabilities.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, I think the Nikon Z8 truly stands out as an exceptionally complete package. A really well-rounded set of features, especially for a hybrid creator doing both photo and video. Its stacked CMOS sensor makes it a leading pick for action shots, purely because of that interruption-free viewfinder and the blistering speed. And honestly, its video toolkit genuinely surpasses competitors like the Canon EOS R5 and the Sony A7RV in many aspects, particularly when you look at the internal recording options.
Right. So while the Sony A7RV remains a compelling alternative, maybe for those seeking a larger native lens library already, or perhaps that slight edge in autofocus in certain niche scenarios, and definitely longer SEPA battery life.
True, those are valid points for the Sony.
The Z8 really carves out its own niche as an exceptionally powerful all-rounder. It feels like it's objectively a better video camera in many ways, and still a stunning photo camera in its own right, which is why I suppose it earned that Editor's Choice Award. It feels like a true flagship, just in a smaller, more accessible body.
Well put. And this raises an important question for you, our listener, to maybe think about. Given the Z8's unique blend of high-speed performance, particularly with that stacked CMOS sensor advantage and its highly capable internal video features, how might a camera like this reshape your approach to capturing both stills and video, especially if you're dealing with fast-moving subjects or maybe complex run-and-gun hybrid workflows? Something to ponder.